I can see you at your computer.
Are you guys at the last?
Yeah, last link.
Last link in the OG.
It really does look like someone has you in a
are
hostage
fully
basement.
Invited to roast him. Any of us, but him especially. Most guests do.
Man, here he is. Doink.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Look at that timing.
See, he does look like he's in a hostage situation.
What's going on?
Hey, sorry, Clem. I'm always late, man.
All right,
You're there saying that's your like part of the group. Everyone has their role. You got to be the late guy. So it's like if you come early, I would have been offended.
I'm usually the booker. I didn't have the honor of booking you, so that's my only excuse.
Hit the music.
You are now tuned in to this week's episode of our podcast. Today we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. By sharing our collective expertise, we will show you how to harness, control, and use your own skill set to achieve ultimate success and live the life you want. And now, please welcome your host.
Hey everybody, welcome on back to the Anomalies Podcast. I'm your host Tanner up in Wisconsin. The full crew is finally with us tonight, no thanks to Marco. We got Tyler back home in Nebraska. Trash man working out of looks like a weird-ass bedroom with flannel sheets. We got Flegs normally on the couch with some sort of whiskey next to him. Very, very special guest with us tonight. We have Clem from Barstool Sports, the number one source for the New York Mets information. Number one hater of Frank the Tank lately.
No, that's KFC. He hates Frank. He says she leads the shut the fuck up Frank movement. I am on the record. I like Frank. I love Frank. He's coming at me, so I have to fight him back. So it's like I'm just fighting him back, trying to stay normal with him. Kevin is the number one hater of Frank the Tank.
He's the number one hater of all time. And I would be remiss if I didn't introduce Marco down in Iowa. Just only 15 minutes late tonight, so actually not bad.
Hey, I was like 13 minutes late.
We got like the biggest guest of our entire podcast career, and you forgot about it. So you're actually normal night, like average day.
Yeah, I treated him the same way I treat all of our guests. You know,
Doesn't matter if it's a UPS delivery driver, a Super Bowl champion, or Clem.
Right.
Again, the late guy plays a role here. If he had showed up earlier on time, I'd be offended.
Hey,
I want the late guy.
In my defense, I was getting high, and then I had to make a drink.
Get ready to record.
It's been a day.
So I was just about to say it's been a day for Marco, and this is going to come out hopefully this week. But Clem, it's been a day for you. Did you tear your Achilles? I mean, we were talking about that before you get on. Like, this is your flu game. Yeah,
I mean, you guys can hear my voice right now. I was sick to start the day. I recorded my Podfather's podcast. Sick. From the jump, I'm like, guys, listen, I'm not sounding good. I'm gonna let the other two guys do the lifting because they're funnier than I am anyway. Plus, I feel like dog do. And then the Mets go ahead and win. And this has become the point where every win feels like 100 wins because it's that point of the season. I have Frank the Tank and Portnoy, and then all their accolades hitting me with Frank was right tweets. So every win feels like 1,000. Plus this whole Javi Baez nonsense. It's just broken my brain. So I was going crazy. And then, I was jumping up and down for my Instagram reaction for my We Gotta Believe podcast. And it honestly felt like a balloon in my leg popped. And I had no one home. My kids were out with my wife. So I was like, who just hit me from behind with a bat right in the calf? So people are telling me it's an Achilles. I will say it hurts. My calf really, really, really hurts right now. I'm walking with a limp. However, it's like the top to middle of the calf. So I think I avoided the A word being torn. However, I definitely think my calf is completely effed up right now. And it's hard to go to the doctor. And he's like, hey, what happened? It's like Javi Baez rounded third and scored a run. And I was jumping like a normal human would. And the sheer enormity of me collapsed my leg beneath my body.
You saw what happened to Tom Segura, right? Like, I mean,
yes.
You could just be like a normal person and lie.
That's true. Be like, I was playing hoops, really trying to get myself in shape, Doc.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you brought up Javi. I'm a Cubs guy. We just completely obliterated our entire season, and you got Javi. I have to ask because there's a lot of love-hate right now. Where are you with Javi specifically?
I told every Cubs fan as soon as we got Javi, I was going to treat him right. I was going to love him. I was going to embrace him. I put my 2 arms around him and love him like he was my own, because Javi Baez is the Mets. He's going to give you great moments. He's going to give you awful moments. He's going to give you moments you didn't know could happen in a game of baseball, right? Like that play when he ran back to home plate and like
Against the
basically
Pirates.
against the Pirates, it was like that's the perfect Javi thing. And I didn't and I thought, all right, he's going to have some bad strikeouts and I'd love him, and he'd hit some home runs and I'd go crazy. And then you don't think like, oh, he's going to tell half the fan base to go fuck themselves like 2 weeks into his tenure here.
Fucking should have.
But I have absolutely no problem with it. I said Javi, the Mets team, every time they drive a run, they could yell fuck Clem, fuck Clem, fuck Clem. That's fine. I don't care. I just want them to win. Anyone who's so butthurt about this stuff, it's like, come on, man. Like, it was supposed to be a fun thing. I think the way Javi said it in the press conference pissed a lot of people off. But I think if he had just reworded it and been like, we're getting booed a lot and we're just going to boo him back. But, we're the boo boys. And that's Kevin said this perfectly on our podcast. And it's like, yeah, like, who cares in the end? Like, it doesn't make a difference. And look, Javi Baez got booed today when he came up for his first at bat in the first game of the doubleheader, ends up scoring that electric run. His first at bat tonight gets cheered, standing ovation, thumbs up, everything. It's just sports. So everyone who, like I said, I was going to love him through thick and thin as long as he's on my team. And I ain't going nowhere now. I'm right here. Like Frank the Tank, he's not ready for that Javi Baez list. I am ready for that. That's what being a Mets fan is.
We're not inviting
Javi
Frank
Baez
on until he likes Javi.
Yes,
No.
agreed.
No, I appreciate that, Clem. I love and appreciate the way Javi plays the game, because whether he's the best player or not, he is by far the most entertaining person on the field. Whether it's a slide where he swims around and gets a slide in and tags third base before he gets tagged, or just the most insane stuff he's able to pull off. And I completely agree. I love him and I miss him, and I hope the best for him to kind of piss the Mets off enough that maybe he'll sign back with the Cubs next year, but we'll see.
Oh.
That's going to be an interesting thing too, because you guys got Pete
Aroldis
Crow Armstrong.
Chapman.
Yeah, you guys got Pete Crow Armstrong. We'll see how he works out, but it's like I do feel like Javi's chances of coming here might have taken a bit of a hit with like a giant controversy less than a month into his tenure. But I just want you to know I am watching Javi. Much love here on this side of the computer screen.
All right,
Clem,
I'll shut up about Pete.
You're admittedly the Mets guy, or Mets guy. In my opinion, you're the Mets guy at Barstool, because I could give a fuck less about Kevin's fandom. Any team he roots for sucks. So
He's a mush.
Following him about sports sucks. He's more entertaining about anything else but sports, in my opinion. But you're also you have no genre you fit into. You hang out with a little kid and Robbie Fox, and you hang out with a guy who should be in the retirement home and large. Yep. You hang out with a literal psychopath and Frank the Tank, and so you fit every demographic, which is great. But you're a big Marvel, you're a big comic book guy, so I need to hear like the origin story of Clem, because some people on this podcast are big Sullies, some people are casual, but a lot of our listeners, they may not know who you are at all. So I mean, you don't got to go back to like your daddy sack, but give us like the full origin story.
Yeah, sure. Kind of how I ended up at this crazy, wacky place that I'm working, or is that what you're looking for? Just a life story? Yeah. It's one of those funny things. So growing up, my dad was a big music fan growing up. He was a drummer. He he owned his own business. He installs pools and stuff like that. Still grinding to this day. God bless him. But he was always a music guy. And for some reason, I just like sports growing up. I don't know what it was. My uncles were my mom's like brothers were kind of into sports and whatever. But it was just one of those things that I could look at like a sports almanac and just look at stats for hours, not know what half the shit even meant. Just loved it. So from that day on, from my childhood on, like the 80s Mets I grew up with, I don't remember the 86 World. My first memory as a Mets fan, this is the God's honest truth, was I remember going to bed. I knew it was a big game in the playoffs. It was the 88 Mets facing the Dodgers. And I remember the next morning I woke up and I was like, did the Mets win? Or because I was, I'm not staying up for a playoff game at that age. And I remember I had a tear in my eye and I'm like, I feel like this is like a sign that they lost. Sure enough, Mike Socha game. Anyone who knows like the Mets Dodgers series, Socha hits the home run. So that was like a good introduction to what Mets fandom was going to be like for the rest of my life, right? I am a Giants fan too, which a lot of people think is weird because it's usually Mets, Jets, Giants, Yankees. For some reason, like you can only be happy or sad here in New York. By the grace of God, I chose the Giants. My dad's like one slight fandom growing up was the Giants. So I got to be a Giants fan. I remember like the Bills Super Bowl. That was like my first real memory as a football fan. Obviously, I've had some Super Bowls since then as a fan, which is awesome. But my whole life was like, I just want to get into sports. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just want to do it. That's kind of my process for anything in life is just figure it out as you go, right? Guess and check. And I ended up, I graduated high school, went to Seton Hall for a year to be a sports management major. Absolutely hated the college because it was a commuter college. So it was everyone going home on the weekends. I just wanted to have fun, party a little bit because I hear college is the best 4 years of your life, get a degree in sports management and figure it out from there. Ended up transferring to Siena a year later because I had a buddy up there, visited him once, had a great time and said, let's just get a business degree and we'll figure it out from there. And then a bunch of weird, odd jobs in the sports industry, just trying to get to lock in somewhere. My first job out of college was selling New York Liberty basketball tickets. You know how hard it is to sell New York Liberty basketball tickets? It's impossible to sell New York Liberty. And it was group sales too. So it's not like I'm just trying to sell to I have to sell to groups of 20 or more. I think it was considered a group thing. And I think after 3 months or so, they told me I had set the record for most tickets sold by a temp or whatever in a 2-week period because I hit this one Girl Scout troop that wasn't spoken for by the Girl Scout person at the company, and I just got flush with sales. I still was operating in the red, commuting from home all the way down to the city on the train. So I was like, yeah, maybe this isn't the one for me. Ended up getting a job at customer service with Sporting News, which, I mean, sportingnews.com, that makes me feel like a fossil. I bet a lot of younger people who are listening have no idea, but it was kind of like a Sports Illustrated competitor, right? Yeah. Did some fantasy game testing and customer service. So our site would always go down at 12:55 p.m. on Sunday, every single week during the football season. You get a million angry emails. Think about if you want to switch out, LaDainian Tom, you want to send up Danny Thomas to Tiki Barber for some reason. Can't do it. Just get angry emails. Started to test stuff to try to figure out how we could not get all those emails. They ended up moving to Charlotte. My now wife, then girlfriend, told me there's no way my ass is moving to Charlotte because she doesn't want to move to Charlotte. So then I ended up looking into a job at ESPN doing that kind of stuff, testing. It was a quality assurance job.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
ESPN?
I worked for the mothership, the worldwide leader, top 3 enemy of Dave Portnoy at some point of his life, maybe I don't know if anyone trumps Goodell. So I'd say ESPN is probably 2.
They're definitely on the Mount Rushmore of enemies. That's for damn sure.
Definitely.
You were at ESPN?
I was at ESPN 2008.
Holy
My first weekend up there, it was I went to Bristol for training, and it was the Giants Cowboys NFC divisional game, I remember. And it was little did I know I was going to be on the highest high of my life in sports for the next 3 weeks between the Packer game and the Super Bowl 42 against the Pats. And I was there for 08 to 13, so 5 years or so, doing testing, quality assurance, yada, yada, yada. And then they ended up being hey, you're going to have to move out to Bristol. And my wife was you're not moving to Bristol. And I could have done the commute. It would have sucked. It was it's an hour plus each way, but then there's always traffic and stuff in the morning. She told me that probably wasn't going to be the case. So I did this thing. I took my severance, and it was straight out of a movie, man. I swear to God. I had a wife. I had a house with a mortgage with, I think, 29 years left on it. I had a wife, and a wife who had just peed on a stick that said she was pregnant. So it was and those 3 things, and the one thing I didn't have was a job at that point. So it was straight out of a movie. And I remember Portnoy had blogged a thing. It was one of his blogs he would put up every 6 months. I want you. It was the Uncle Sam looking thing. It's if you want to blog for us, act like you have a blog here and blog on every single minute you have a moment. And once you think you have enough stuff, submit it, blah, blah, blah. And I had, talked with some of the different writers and bloggers at Barstool, which was a lot less people, at this point, 2013 than it is now, obviously.
What's your employee number?
What?
What's your employee number?
We got shirts way back when, and it was 16 at the time.
Holy
and
shit.
Out of those 16, I'd say I might be 10ish now. You know what I mean? Because some of the older guys have left, but I was 16. And that's, people have come and gone throughout them, but that's what I got was number 16, which is crazy. And And it was, I always make this comparison. You guys seem like some of you are a little bit closer to my age. I always make this comparison. It was basically like Howard Stern in Private Parts, which you guys have seen that, where he's just like, fuck it. I got nothing to lose right now. And I would always do that, man. I'd always just, I used to just do like the hot takes, very basic sports takes whenever I do something. I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose here. Let me just start talking like a Barstool employee. You just kind of like let it rip. So that's what I did. And I had, hit it off with some of the guys, just tweeting at them, kind of develop your friendships on Twitter and stuff like that. And after probably about a year or so, Brendan Clancy, Kevin's brother, had said, hey, man, we love what you do. We have this KFC radio podcast we do. They had KFCradio.com. And that was before, podcasts were really as huge as they became. And Barstool, this is before churn and all that stuff. Dave barely even acknowledged podcasts existed. And he was like, hey, if you want to write for us, it would be a way to get people to come to our site, KFCradio.com, get people to listen to the podcast. So I kind of it was like almost like going to the minor leagues. So I would blog for their podcast site. And then after probably about 4 months or so, Kev said, hey, listen, like what you're doing there, like, your blog, you kind of have the, voice of Barstool. If you want to write about the Knicks, you can be my Knicks writer, which, we always have these team-centric writers, especially back then when it was city-based. And then anytime you see anything on a weekend, on a Saturday, he's like, Saturdays are pretty much a dead day. A lot of people are out, actually living their lives. If you see something that's funny, that's good, that's bloggable, blog it, hit submit, and then I'll, publish it if I think it's worthy of going up on the blog. So that was basically it. I blogged my butt off with the Knicks. I think Porzingis got drafted. I think he might have gotten drafted that next year. So I had Porzingis, I had the Phil Jackson nonsense, Derek Fisher, which was like a gold mine of content. And then every single moment I saw something that was like worthy of a blog, I put it up on a Saturday. And a year later, 2015, Dave Portnoy reached out to me and said, hey, man, Kev said, you're good at this. I want to think about hiring you. Big Cat spoke highly of you. And I think at that point, the churning money looked like it was either if it would be churning or someone else's money was going to come in. They're like, we'd love to have you, bring you on and whatever. And I was like, hell yeah. I was at that point, I was actually working at USA Today, doing some stuff on their app. I was doing kind of like editorial work. I had lucked into that job in between working at my dad's store after my wife had gotten knocked up by me and hit me with you're having a baby. So I kind of did that to make ends meet. Worked at USA Today doing editorial stuff where I worked like the 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift most of the time if the people in LA couldn't do it. So that was a lot of fun with a baby at home. And Dave ended up calling. 2015 got hired, and here I am. So very long-winded way to say that's how I got here.
And maybe soon we'll hire you at the Anomalies because
I'm in, man.
We're on the way up. We got you on the podcast, so now like we're kind of coming back up. We had Willie, we had Large, that we were kind of on the way down. We got you now. We're turning the corner.
Well, Tanner was like, what do I got to get you on the podcast? I got Large on. I'm like, just whatever you offer Large, just offer me a little more like pleases or whatever it may be.
Hey, I think I was way more late for Large than I was for you, if that makes you feel better.
I don't know if it makes you feel better or worse, though. It's like you're the late guy. I kind of wish you were later.
Hey, I got to ask you, it seems like we spent some time in New York. We're practically related. My brother lives in Queens. What's the biggest difference?
Astoria. Is your brother from Astoria? Because I was in Astoria for 3 years.
He lives in Flushing.
Okay, Mets baby.
But what's been the biggest? And I'm gonna change this all up just because that's what I do. What's been the biggest difference you've noticed between like being in the city for like pre-COVID to like where it's at now?
Geez, it's craziness. Now I'm not even like I'm in the burbs now, but I go to the city whenever I go to work and stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely not nicer there. I will say that it's eerie. It's still eerie to this day. I mean, it's getting more and more normal, and people are going in. But I think I went to the city a few months ago. It was 5:45 p.m. in Grand Central. Looked like there was maybe 12 people in the terminal, and you go to Grand Central at 3 a.m. drunk and you're stumbling home.
Been there.
There's like 55, 60 people,
Yeah.
anywhere you look. It was 12 people. And I'm like, this feels like, I am legend kind of shit. So it was always one of those things. And it's, I feel like it's probably a lot of cities that are like this, but I feel like everything's definitely a little more like, just it feels a little edgier. People have definitely been on some shit, people down in their luck, more homeless and a little more aggressiveness and stuff like that. But, and again, we were talking before we even went live. It's like, kids are about to go back to school, and I feel like we're going to have them back home remotely soon. So it's like, I don't even feel like there's like an end in sight for this. So it's just one of those things. It's like, I hope it's going to get better soon. But I mean, if nothing gets better in terms of the numbers for the long term, nothing is going to get better. So it is one of those things. It's just kind of you just have a vibe about it. And the city is like, even the city at its absolute best is an absolute shit show of a place to be at any given moment. So to say what it is now is great. I will say this, at Barstool, we used to have a big shanty town that was set up right outside our offices where you'd be like walking over people as they were like strung out. That has moved, but I think those shanty towns are now getting bigger. So if you find yourself down the wrong, like, road where you're not going to want to be, you're going to have a lot more shit going down there.
Are you looking forward to the day that, let's say, quote unquote, things go back to normal and you're back in the office every day, or do you like being where you're at?
I am one of the people that did not have to go in the office every day. So I went in when we first moved to the last HQ. Dave was like, hey, you want to come in, or you want to just be a blogger from home? You want to be kind of a personality? I said a little bit of both. I think I could do both. And I did it. I'm back in my hometown where I grew up. So it's a good like 2 hours door to door, 2.5 if I have to drop the kids off at daycare. And I did it, I think, like 3 days in a row. And Dave just asked me in passing, he was like, hey, how long did it take you to get into that? I was like, 2.5 hours. He's like, what? He's like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? So he's like, listen, Clem. He's like, listen. And, Dave gets a lot of crap, sometimes deserved. He's a crazy person. I say the strength of Barstool is the craziest person here is the guy that runs the entire company, right? So that is our greatest strength. But, and he gets a lot of stuff for that, better or worse. He said to me, he took me aside. He's like, man, listen, I love having you here. We love having you here. But never feel like you have to come in if it's like too much for you. And at that point, especially, I have one kid now, I have two. I'm Mr. Mom in the morning. My wife is out early in the morning going to work. So I have to drop them off at, one at daycare, one at kindergarten, or now second grade, elementary school. So he said, you don't have to come in. So I was one of those people that basically work from home. I go in once a week, give or take, depending on what else is going on. If there's an ad deal, a video we're doing, a podcast. Podcast is I love doing podcasts in person. It's just it's easier to do, but this is kind of the way the world has gone. It's made it easier to not do that. So I kind of hate that everyone else is getting one of the perks I thought I had in life. So I'm like, all these goddamn people. I got like looked into this job. I'm like, all these other people who have to I'm like, you know what? They make more money than me, but they have the soul crushing commute. Now nobody has the soul crushing commute. I want people's souls to get crushed. I'm getting crushed by all the commenters on my website. People, calling me names and stuff like that. I want to have that. Like, that's my perk, not everyone else's perk. So I'm kind of pissed off about that, if we're being honest.
I think you've been hanging out with Kevin a little too much.
Yeah. The Mets are doing this to my brain. The Mets have definitely put me in another place. I'm sick. My calf is killing me right now. I'm in a very bad place right now.
That's a terrifying injury.
Clem, are you a drug guy?
Drug guy?
Yeah.
Smoke some weed.
Are you a 3-Chi guy?
Big 3-Chi guy.
Oh,
Big 3-Chi guy. Delta 8. Pods. Promo code pods.
Look at this. I got one of these bad boys sitting right here.
Ooh, which one is that, baby?
Gary Payton.
Gary Payton. I've never seen Gary Payton.
What's up? Shout out Todd McComas. What's up, Todd McComas?
No, you mentioned Dave and how, he kind of lets you do your own thing. Like, I feel like he gets a lot of shit and, he's like misogynist, sexist, capitalist, whatever. And, but he does things like, I've got the Borelli shirt on from COVID when he did the Barstool raising funds for small businesses. Like, the one thing you can never say about Dave is, like, you can't call him a bad dude. Like, he may have, like, his stubborn ways, but he's not a bad dude. Like, how have you navigated some of those situations where it's like, Barstool? You work for Barstool? Like, tell me what that's like sometimes when you get those interactions, if you still do or whatever.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a trip too with the last year with the fund and all that kind of stuff. Where people are like, oh, you're at Barstool, or not like, oh, you're at Barstool. But that's the reason when I first started working here part time, I would do all my videos from the nose down because they'd be like, "Oh, you work for that like evil, mean place." I mean, anyone who truly says that, I don't think they've done their research. They read the same hit pieces, which take 4 or 5 dumb things said or done out of the, I mean, like millions of hours of stuff that has gone on through then. I know Dave, the person. He is unapologetically, I think it's, yeah, that's right. Unapologetically
Big
himself.
words. We're not good with that, but you go for it.
I'll try it. He's unapologetically himself, but he is who he is. And like, that's the thing is you always know where you stand with Dave for better or worse. And that's kind of one of the things I like about him as someone that like, I know I work my butt off and I know I think I do a good job. And I kind of love that. It's like, you know where you stand with your boss. Cause I mean, there's so many. I've worked in corporate America. You know what I mean? I know how many of the like fake people, the ass kissers, the people who put their knee pads on to get promotions and stuff like that. I'm so sick of that stuff. And I always just love Dave for what he is. And I think like the funny thing is, it's like people will quote the same 4 or 5 things that, you know, he would take back if he could, but they never mention, you know, the hundreds of things that are awesome that he has done too. So it's just one of those things that like, if you have a problem with Barstool and you don't want to do any more research on it, that's like, I just don't have time for you. It's like, all right, cool. We're just going to agree to disagree and go from there.
Don't you think his hiring is a bit suspect though, Dave's? I mean, hiring a guy like Large.
I do not care for the man in the least, and he's poor shaming me left and right in the year 2021 of our Lord. It's all right. If it was me, I would have never hired him, or I know he just got his new contract, but I'm just gonna put it on myself. I kind of drag him to that new contract, Podfather.
Are we going down the rebuke? Oh shit! Oh shit!
I knew you were setting that up.
I automatically get invited to any podcast where Clem is adored inexplicably.
Clem, I didn't mean to do you dirty like that, dude.
What's up, boys? How are you?
What's up, man?
I had a sneaky suspicion that Tanner was going to do this shit.
Anytime I ask Large for dirt on a guest that he may know, it's not like I could stop in for a few minutes. It's like, send me a fucking link. I want to bury this person.
Right.
Who else did we do this to?
I don't even remember.
Large popped. Was it for Willie? Did he pop in for a few minutes for Willie?
I think it might have been.
It was Willie.
Might have been the last time I saw Willie.
Yeah. I was gonna fucking Barstool Breakfast needs to come back, asshole.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir, my man. I'm free.
Yeah. I can't even say I'm shocked, Tanner. This is right up your alley. Anytime I'm looking for help, you'll always bury me for Large on Twitter and stuff.
Here's the thing. When I first time I ever called in a serious, Large actually followed me before I followed him. I followed you for like 4 years, interacted with you for all these times, never followed me till we joined that Clubhouse Grubhouse, dude.
Dude, I felt so bad about that too because there's people I just think I follow. My producer Kyle of We Gotta Believe, Mets fan, like an actual person like that I know and I consider a friend. I was like going through his profile one day to like look up a tweet and I was like, oh shit, I don't even follow him. And then I follow him, I just go about my day. Like 10 minutes later, he's like, oh, what a big day at Clover Port Farm. I'm like, oh, Kyle, Jesus Christ, man, I didn't fucking know. I thought I followed you, Tanner. I had no goddamn. Once you sent me that cheese, the slicer, we were basically family from that day on. I can't believe I didn't hit the
that's what I thought. Like I said, hell, even Chaps. I mean, like he's ugly, but he followed me.
He's not a good person, though. We know that about Chaps. But nonetheless.
Well.
Is he in the fucking room too? Is he gonna pop up next?
He's never came on.
You throw an ex-girlfriend at me? What's coming on next, Tanner? I can't trust you as far as I can throw you.
Let's talk about your ex-girlfriends, Clem.
Clem, you're like Midwestern nice, but you're from New York. I have a really hard time believing that. Like Large, he's East Coast asshole, but you're like Midwest nice.
I'm in the burbs, so I feel like I just spent my whole life in the burbs. I don't even think I'm like a nice guy, but people say that about me. They call me like a big teddy bear. I don't know. I have to say, like my dad, if I am like my dad, which I don't know if I am or not, because it's just like life. But like that guy is like the nicest person I've ever met. So if I am anywhere as close to him, then I guess so. But I don't know. It's just how I've always been. It's like I think just people like Large is just not fun to be around. Let's call it what it is.
I think one of the things is that you only scratch the surface with some of these people, but you can tell that there's a select few people within the Barstool universe, particularly. I think any office universe, microcosm, whatever you want to call it. But you see a guy like Trent,
Yeah. Oh,
and you could just tell that he's kind of a salt of the earth guy. There's a dude who does the tech stuff for us, tech guy Andrew, and you can tell like tech guy Andrew is just like, just the salt of the earth guy, and the rest of the people are suspect, right? Like everyone is just kind of suspect. You don't know which way they're going to go. And I think Clem is just one of those salt of the earth guys. And then the more that I get to know him, get to know his wife, get to know the kids, like get to see the whole dynamic, because Podfather's, like, for example, today, Clem was a little bit under the weather. He's a little bit under the weather, and it was worse in the morning. I think you sound better now, Clem.
He was fine till you came on.
Yeah. But we devolved into just talking about, what are we talking about today? It was cicadas.
Cicadas, a lot of cicada talk.
Yeah. And then, like it just kind of went, sideways. And I think when you go sideways with content with people, you get to really see how they are. I didn't realize how truly angry Smitty was as a person. Like how he can really internalize some anger towards things, until I did Twisted with him last week. And I was like, whoa, did you just say cunt? And it was one of those things where, you really get to do that. And that's not a dig at all. I mean, I think that passion is what makes him, very good at what he does. So yeah, but Clem is one of those guys. Like, I've been around enough, and obviously I'm the oldest guy on this fucking panel again. He is.
Marco's up there.
He's the guy. Yeah, I still got him.
Marco.
I still got him. So he's one of the guys that not necessarily a foxhole guy, because I mean, I've seen bigger arms on a clock, but he's one of those guys that you can kind of trust as a friend and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you? So you're East Coast nice, which is just like a very, very rare brand, Clem. But what do you like? Do you have to do 3G to put up with assholes like Large when you go into the office? Because you're around some aggressive personalities, and like I've been called a nice guy before, or a softie, whatever. Like, are you out of your element when you're in situations like that?
No way, man. This could just be me, but everyone, I get hugs from everybody. Everybody is lovely when they're around me. You have to remember, like, my first friend at this company, the guy who put me on, is KFC, who's the hater of the year for 10 years running, Mr. Mush, the most negative man in the world. So it's like my like introduction to Barstool was like the heart of black. So that's why, like, Frank was right, and all this kind of nonsense with Frank. It's like,
how you doing,
I've seen worse than Frank. He's not that. Is that my guy Finn?
Yeah.
This
Finn,
is my
come
guy.
on, buddy.
You want to talk about nice
this
guys.
is the plumber. This is the guy who made me cry with Large when Large was telling his story. Dude, Finn.
So he's the guy. He's the warrior. Just cut open as a kid. That was when he was only 6 weeks old, and went in there, did like some real deal surgery on him. This kid's been through a lot. So it's his first year of freshman high school. Freshman football, and they had to do something where for his high school, they have to do 9 hours of community service over the 4 years that they're at high school. And so we got the letter at the end of this one. Finn did 148 hours this summer. So he's just one that,
God damn.
So that's beyond, me. Obviously, it's Annie to a degree and whatnot. So he's one of those kids who's not smart enough to have gotten 10 different letters, so he can sold them to 10 different kids and get their shit all done. But this is Finn. That's the guy that I talk about all the time.
Already a better person than you.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Well, that's the whole thing. I said in the podcast with Clem, I think, no one's going to be the athlete that Mick is. Not he's a great athlete, he's the best athlete in the family. No one will be the entertainer that Bridge is. Whatever I am and whatever Annie is, we are what we are. Nobody's going to be the person that this kid is. All right, get the fuck out of here. Come on. I love you, pal. Big day tomorrow. First day of high school. I love you, pal.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's Clem's guy. That's Clem's favorite dude, right? I mean, first day you called dibs on Finn.
First time I don't know if it was when I met her.
Ride or
just talking
die.
about, I go, Finn's my dude. Like, that's just my guy. I just knew it from the jump. And this is the worst thing about it with Large too, is we're just busting his chops. His kids are like basically what I aspire to make my kids like as they're older. They're super respectful, super nice. They say hi to all the guests when they come in. They have conversations. They put down their devices. It's like a goal to strive for as a parent. And trust me, my kids are not on that track right now. I have two great kids that I love. They are nowhere near McCarthy on the terms that they're on right now. If their mother maybe gets her hands into them a little more, she can get them on that path. But Lars has raised three absolute gems. So
his daughter is on one of the most popular Netflix TV series of all time. For God's sakes.
Yeah, she just got back from doing another scene with that Sex and the City thing. She's on a heater. $1,000. What's up?
She's gonna be making more money than
But she starts.
soon, right?
She starts
That in the college fund.
Yeah, if it makes it. She's but again, they're back to school tomorrow, so all that stuff's going to come to a grinding halt because right now, and that's my new French bulldog. I fucking hate this dog.
She's a
That
bitch.
dog, just from your social media.
Oh God, hate her. But yeah. So I love whenever you guys when good people talk to good people, and you guys are my favorite, and obviously Clem's my favorite. Fuck you. And Clem's one of my favorites too. So it's I just did a swipe up for Simply Safe, so I got the blow gun next to me. Clem, so I think I'm gonna shoot this little bitch with the fucking blow gun now. That's what I've never done, but since I got it right here, I'll tell you what's weird about these things.
Flagged on YouTube.
On top of these, the darts, they give you these plugs, like just these little. I got so many weapons, you guys know. So they give you these little plastic plugs. So if you can't, hold on, Blue. You can get them.
If you dart this dog on this episode,
That's a problem.
She's got her on her side. She will not be bothering us anymore.
she's tranquilized. Well done.
Hold on, Lars.
I got sandbagging somebody.
I gotta tell you, hearing your voice through my fucking ears right now is something I have missed. Is what has to happen for Barstool Breakfast to come back? Just tell us what to do.
Yeah, I think the fate of Barstool Breakfast kind of lays in the lap probably of Willie. I think he's one of those guys that when they took the studio away, they took the station away. He was hired for that. That was his thing. So to ask him to pivot, whether or not he has the bandwidth or the motivation to do it, is up to Willie. Like I was able to pivot, you know what I mean, and do all this other stuff to a degree, and I should be doing more, and I will be doing more. Like I have a bunch of stuff coming up, but with Willie, it's tough. And then so can it exist on another platform? They're screwing around with this new platform called Sling, and I think what we were doing is we were being held off to see if the Yak was working out on YouTube, and I don't think it is. Like, I think those guys do a great job, but I don't think it's like that landslide thing. So I have a lot of regrets. Not a lot of regrets. I have a lot of frustration with the way that stuff went down. I thought I got affected by it more than most. And then if the thing with Willie doesn't work out, I think it affects me more than most too, because I was the one who had like that 1-2 punch with him. Like Clem is sort of that guy who David told me very, young into my career, Kevin in fights. PFT and Big Cat, Rhea and Fran. Like there's these 1-2 punches, these dynamic duos. Clem has Clem and me, Clem and Robbie, Clem and KFC. Like he's one of those guys that's a little bit more universal. But with me, I thought it was going to be me and Willie
Utility guy.
doing everything, and then now I just don't know where his head is at. He had 2 kids and lost a parent during the pandemic. I think he got COVID twice because he got the Delta just a couple of weeks ago. So, we opened a restaurant that almost closed down like during the pandemic. So it's not like, he's been doing nothing, but it's been a frustrating time for him. So to answer your question, I'm here. Like I'd be willing to do anything really. I'd do it with fucking smoke signals if they let me, but it just doesn't. And Patty moved into production. Oh no, not to production, to content. Patty's no longer production. I don't have him as a producer. So where's the producing come from? Well, maybe Jetski sets up. Jetski is now doing, Troops' thing at soccer along with Za. Like everyone's pivoting around. So I don't know where I'd like to do it on a Friday. Obviously.
A 3 Chief Friday with Large and Clem.
Yeah.
I would do just once a week. A 3 Chief Friday with Large and Clem started off at like 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. You're on 3 Chief. Oh, I would love that.
Well, Clem is one of I have to do I'm in bed with the DAZN people a little bit for some fights. And Clem was nice enough to say that he'd come in. I can't get to London to do the Joshua fight on September 25th because there's a 14-day quarantine. They don't want to do the same thing that happened to Jet Ski when he got there and had to stay there for a couple of weeks. So we're going to do a fight watch in the city, which no one's going to go to. It's 3:00 on a fucking Saturday during college football season, September 25th. So Clem's like, I know we have the Giants tailgate the next day. I'll come in. The cocky little cocksucker said, you can tell people I'm coming. That way I get other people to do it, like to jam from his popularity. That was a fucking big Clem. Oh, look at the Clem moment. First one I
Hey man, I know this company works. It's like, oh, do I want to go? Well, Clem's gonna he just have to say 3 names, and it's like if they just say, all right, well, if he's gonna go, I'll go. I'm just trying to be a buddy here. And you came all the way up to fucking take me to my vasectomy during a pandemic, so I figured
some of the best content of the pandemic was the
By
vasectomy. That was fucking hilarious.
Shaved me like a baby. I looked like a baby down there by the time the guy's done.
I don't want to tell you. You look like a baby before I shaved you down. To be honest, your wife must have doll hands.
He licked you clean though. From what I heard, I heard he licked you clean after all that mess.
It was like a corpse in a cheese factory, fucking Tanner. Holy shit! All right, guys, I'm gonna get back to doing.
You got a groomer.
I got the Twisted History Cannibals. I'm finishing up now. I just want to come on and bust Clem's balls. I'll talk to you guys soon. Is that cool?
Thank you.
Yeah,
For sure.
You're welcome from that contract, man. I dragged you to it.
I'll need you again next May, Clem. Keep your powder dry. All right, see you guys. Have a great day.
Hey, brother.
See ya.
And that was large. Okay, full disclaimer. All I did was text him. Do you have any funny stories about Clem? Immediately, why? I think this is how the text message went. Fucking send me a link. Are you podcasting? Send me a fucking link. I mean, I had nothing. How are you supposed to resist that?
Trust me, I've seen him like in his element because I've been fortunate enough to go and visit him in his town where he just we had like a sleepover one night where I just hung out with him, went to like his kid's basketball game, we had dinner at his beloved Arturo's, and the guy is he's a mayor wherever he goes. He's always has the busting chops and has one-on-one time with everybody. So I definitely checks out that you would just say my name, he'd be like, let me go on and just bust his chops for a bit. So I'd expect nothing less from the big man.
All right, grocery stores. Who you picking?
Ooh.
You go on Big Boy, you go on Costco, or you go on the other way? How
Stu
you
Leonard's?
going?
You're talking
Stu.
Stu Leonard's?
Yeah,
Or,
of course.
I thought you were saying Costco or BJ's or something.
No, BJ's, they can suck a dick like a BJ. So
I have to say this. As a man that is getting older, has a family, actually has like a real functioning kitchen. We just redid our kitchen. Like we're buying everything we can through Costco. We got like our fucking silverware there, our plates there, our fucking bar stools there, everything there. But Stu Leonard's is just that mom and pop store, man. It's Disney World. It's A&P mixed with Disney World. It's a place my kids go and are just in wonderment the whole time, which is the most important thing. The kids shut the fuck up with their Costco.
yes.
All right, I'm sorry, Stu Leonard's. Costco to a lesser degree, because as soon as they get the samples in them, but they're just busting balls. Just something a little hollow about Costco. That $1.50 hot dog way to round it out is the quickest way to my overclogged heart, but Stu Leonard's also gives you the free ice cream once you spend $100, so it got to be Stu's.
Do you not like buy the hot dog in advance? Like buy the hot dog at the beginning, feed your kids. They'll chew on that thing for like at least 30 minutes of quietness because they're trying to eat the entire hot dog.
Do I look like someone that plans stuff out? That's the smartest thing I've ever heard, and I never thought of it.
I need to pitch this for you guys, but you should really have flags on Podfathers, even for a 10-minute deal. This guy's got fucking life figured out, not just parenting, but like I'm 27, I'm some dumb kid, right? And I didn't know I had to buy my own insurance when I got off, like my parents' insurance. Well, luckily we got a dude who wears khakis every day and shit and sells that stuff. He bombarded me with resources on insurance. So if there's ever like a real life how to adult scenario, I just talk to Flex.
We had an idea for adulting.
Wait, you didn't call me?
Marco, you're the last person we'd call.
Or send me a Snapchat or some other guy?
No, Marco, I wouldn't ask you one responsible question. Not one.
If you need a 3-chi, I think Marco's your dude. Maybe.
No, I'm the dude for the real weed.
The other
Fuck that
form of
shit.
THC.
Fair enough. We actually had a adulting 101 idea we had when it was just me and Large. We were trying to figure out other shit to do on the podcast, and that actually would have been perfect. I still want to do that, so maybe we have Flags on there too, just to kind of like that's the introduction, and we kind of just bullshit from there. Because like Large said, when you're just chopping it up, having fun with people, and just talking, that's when the real fun and personality comes out of it. So that's not a bad idea. I like that.
I think. Well, I know he'd fit in with you two, but I think the adulting 101 would be literally right up his alley. He has the playbook written, so you two would look like fucking good golden act. I mean, you'd have everything put together already. You just
I'd be taking notes because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. Clearly. I mean, we had a question today.
I actually got to see him be a dad a couple weeks ago, and he is a very good dad.
Wow.
At the fair of all places, while holding. Well, I guess maybe I was drinking. I don't remember if you were drinking, but I was definitely drinking. But you were having a good time, and you were also taking real good care of those kids. But he didn't have any khakis on that day.
No, the Indiana State Fair, it's in the middle of September. There's no chance you're wearing like long pants. You got to wear shorts in Indiana. The humidity just kills you.
No joke, man. Same shit here, man. Same shit here. Get Tanner to send you some Grand Cru Reserve cheese from Roth Cheeses in Wisconsin. So this one's going on the podcast. We're recording it live. That's from the big man. A request out to you.
I've sent you cheese from that creamery. I don't think I sent you the Grand Cru, but they've won in the aged cheese category, like the national or the world cheese championships. They've won like 11 out of the last 15 years with that cheese or something like that. So yeah, I may have sent some to Large out of some guilt tripping, especially because he found the fucking website and he basically like went shopping for himself once he found out that I get that stuff. So yeah, we can take care of you now that you follow me on Twitter.
Exactly. Now that we're Twitter fam, it's all good. That's the thing about Large. He definitely has the biggest bank account out of everyone on the podcast. But that motherfucker, he's always finding ways to get freebies. Like, I understand. I have a young family. I've been grinding here at Barstool. I may not have a big bank account as large. The guy brings his own fucking cups to the movies and reuses them for like months on end. That is a legit poor move right there. Listen, I'm not poor shame. I'm just calling it what it is. I would never do that. Maybe like one extra time I would use it. This guy washes them out and bring them every fucking week. That's craziness to me.
You're supporting the whole movie industry.
Yes,
you're supporting all of it, and Large is killing it. What are you doing? What are you doing?
We used to have competitions to literally see like how absurd of a meal we could get into the movie theaters when we were like younger kids and shit. But then we had a friend who worked for the movie theater, and he told us he's like the margins we make off the tickets is so small. If we don't like destroy you on concession pricing, like this thing we don't float, man. And ever since then, I've always felt so bad. I always pretty much eat my supper at the movies now. Like I will overpay to support the movie theaters, especially with COVID now. I've been to like 2 or 3 movies since COVID's, or it's in a lull, or whatever we want to call this phase of it. I think everybody should go to their local movie theater and just spend a quick $30-$40.
Is there no easier way to feel better than yourself than either getting some takeout from the local mom and pop spots and engorging yourself in food, or you go to the movie theater and you spend $25 on a large popcorn and large cherry Coke? You're like, I'm just helping people out. I don't really want to eat this stuff, but I'm just doing it to help other people. Speaking of which, Costco, you got a 2-pack of movie tickets for $8 to go to AMC. So you're basically going to the movies for free. And I was like, you know what? I got to get popcorn and cherry Coke. So Stu Leonard's is still my answer, but there are still some unbelievable.
Wait a minute. I just left Costco before I came here today. You got free movie tickets where?
It was $4 movie tickets at Costco.
But you said something about the popcorn and the what?
I paid for the popcorn and the soda because it was like $25 for that, which was like because
he's not a
I bought the popcorn at Costco and got free tickets, so I got confused.
That's a lot. Now that's a large move. Actually, no,
That's because he's high. That's okay. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
you're gonna need some popcorn.
I am gonna need some popcorn.
I gotta dive in about this Costco hot dog. I've been traveling back and forth from my hometown in Kearney to Omaha, and I flipped a coin and I chose Sam's Club over Costco.
Oh,
Did I make
bad
choice? And also, I will say this: the Walmart equivalent of the $150 is garbage compared to like a normal Quick Trip dog. A Quick Trip dog is way better.
I have to say, man, I was raised as a Costco kid, so I kind of have a little bit of a bias in there. But my parents, they gave BJ's a shot too. We've gone to both. It's no contest, man. I mean, you're talking Kirkland brand. BJ's, it's BJ's, Sam's Club, and Costco. Those are the kind of the three big box stores.
Like bulk.
Yeah, exactly. So, and anything
Kirkland vodka.
Kirkland vodka.
Kirkland vodka. Holy shit.
I've never been to a Costco. I don't think they even have them in Wisconsin. Or if they do, nowhere near my part.
They gotta have them in Wisconsin. Costco, where?
Oh, look.
Hold on, Clem. I think we can make this happen. Hold on. You've been trying to go to Wisconsin for a while now, I feel like, because you got some buddies who live in Wisconsin. You got Tanner, who just bought a house. He lives up in northern Wisconsin. We can make this happen. You can just, like, bring a Costco executive. You got the contacts. You've got the pen money. You've got the David Portman name behind you. You can bring Costco to Wisconsin. And Tanner can enjoy the glory that is the hot dog, the foot and a half long hot dog.
I Googled Costco in Wisconsin, and they are literally on the opposite side of the state. So like Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, that's it.
But there's one in St. Paul, though. Can you get to St. Paul?
Oh, yeah, that's only an hour and a half.
There you go. I mean, just find a reason to go to St. Paul, and I'm looking at the map right now,
supporting that evil.
You know, one reason to go see Tanner.
There we go.
Go to a Wisconsin game.
Go see Tanner. I could pick you up at the airport. We could be at Costco in 15 minutes.
I have a buddy who, like you said, amazing baseball weekends we used to do, my buddies and I, before, kids and marriage and life weighed us down. And we just do like 3 baseball stadiums in a weekend, rent a minivan from Enterprise and just, get drunk and dumb as shit. And we'd always say, let's do an amazing Wisconsin weekend, a Brewers game, Wisconsin Badgers football game, and then a Packers game. If we could do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's the dream. Probably could trade in the Brewers for just having the double football game, but it's hard for the schedules to line up. However, that friend, I think he's a little worried about COVID, so I don't think we'd be going to Wisconsin right now during all this nonsense. However, next year, definite possibility. And I was speaking with him, and I think he's thinking about moving back to Wisconsin where he grew up. He's in Chicago right now. So this might be an even easier trip than ever imagined. I've been trying to get Large to go to Costco for a few years, and now that the samples are coming back, I mean, they might be disappearing again with the way the fucking COVID's going. But we got to have like a legit, I want you to have a legit Costco experience too. I want to have the free samples out, full food menu, because they took a lot of the foods off once COVID hit. We got to do this the right way. It's either the right way or we're not doing it at all. So I think 2022 is going to be our year, unless we fuck up again and COVID's here until like 2029.
No shit, right?
I can appreciate that, wanting the full experience. I'll just say this: we call it the immaculate weekend. If you can do all 3 in one weekend, and people do it. Like I have friends from where I grew up with, they'll pull that off. You want Monday off, though. You will be fucking exhausted.
We came up with this idea, I mean, probably like 5 years ago when we had a little more, little more tread on the tires, a little more gas in the gas tank. I'd need like the week off afterwards. If we go, we probably wouldn't be able to go as hard. We just wouldn't be able to do it. Now, your immaculate weekend, is that the same thing? Brewers, Badgers, Packers? It's those 3? Because we went to this all came up it was actually our second baseball weekend, but it was our first like really big trip we had made out of it. It was the first time I met these guys from Wisconsin too. And we went out a little too hard in Wrigleyville for one night, and the next day was the Brewers game. And he had talked to me. I don't know if you know about this spot. It's called the Brat Stop in I don't know if there's a bunch of them or just one. He talked about this fucking Brat Stop for hours and hours on the email threads, this and that, all the Brat Stop. And all I remember was he was in a blanket and we were playing wiffle ball in the middle of the thing, and he was puking in a porta potty. And then we ended up just driving to Wisconsin. He actually told us to leave him behind, and we're like, we're not leaving behind. We're a fucking team. That's the kind of like, it was like the Hangover.
That's why people love you, Clem. That's why they like
that. Because nonsense like that. So we drove up to Wisconsin. We drove to Milwaukee. Past the Brat Stop. I can still see it in my mind's eye from the highway as I'm telling this story. We get into the parking lot of the Brewers game. Fucking, it's a Saturday, I guess it was probably like August or so against the White Sox, who I guess used to be a rival back in the day when they were in the same league and division. Funnels going down, flip cup. You'd think it was a fucking college football Saturday. It wasn't a baseball Saturday. It was awesome. We got, people were bringing funnels over to us. We were playing, flip cup. We were doing keg stands. And like, we all did like a funnel. We were about to puke. 3 hours of basically our bodies rotting to death in the sun in that weird kind of inside-outside stadium. And to this day, I'm like, I can't believe we did not live it up the right way in Wisconsin. So this amazing Wisconsin weekend, immaculate weekend, whatever you want to call it, this is like years in the making. We got to do it right, and we got to do as much as we can do. But I am like truly 100% down. And I think I'm at the point where the kids are old enough where I don't feel like a complete asshole leaving the wife behind with them for a weekend to just get drunk with my friends.
I could gladly and pretty easily tour guide this weekend. And I'll be completely honest with you. In Wisconsin, I don't know about every other place, but we tailgate games and then you sober up like during the game. So I'm just warning you, if you're a big drinker or not, I don't know, but like we get there at 8 or 9 a.m., whether it's a noon game or a 3 o'clock or a 7 o'clock game, like you're there for kegs and eggs. It's an all day commitment, but the game during the game is actually when you sober up.
Yeah, that's the thing is I love kegs and eggs. Day drinking is my favorite thing in the world. Now I also have to admit, getting old, washed up, kids, all that kind of stuff. Drinking, my first hangover with a kid, that was my last hangover with a kid because it was the worst morning of my life. It's the absolute pits, and they're just running around. You can't stop them. I'm sure as they're older now, but having a baby that is just refuses to stop crying or moving around, I was like, I'm done with that shit. However, I will be doing that. And the thing about New York is it's like, they only give you 5 hours. The parking lot's open 5 hours before a Giants game. So you're there, I'm there at, 8 o'clock for a 1 o'clock game or whatever it is. I would love to just do a kegs and eggs no matter what, sober up during the game, come back, hopefully after a win, everyone's happy. We fire the grills back up. My father-in-law always does this. He always cooks the good food in the morning, and then the afternoon food, you do the burgers, the dogs, the easy stuff to cook. Just soak up the alcohol, and it all tastes good at that point anyway, right? So 1,000% in. Just a matter of when.
When is this?
I'd say 2022 at the earliest.
Yeah. COVID depending.
Yes. If we ever
you didn't even want to go to Vegas though.
Hold on.
Your Vegas trip though, was wild. You didn't even really care to go to Vegas at that point because with the bracket challenge and the March Madness and stuff, you went to Vegas. You were done at like 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, that was the bracket buster. It was 2018, right before my second was born. It was my baby moon. I knew the second one was coming, and it was just basically to get a little bit extra sleep. Yeah, so I was there in the mornings. We were drinking, having fun. It was the closest I've ever lived to living like a music video of a life. I can't even imagine if that's what it was like then. I can't imagine what Dave's life is like now that he's kind of really hit it big. But it was one of those wild, unbelievable things, and I still felt better in the mornings than I did going out in Vegas than I do now just, on a typical Tuesday night with kids. It's just an absolute shit show.
Agreed.
I don't tell Flags that. He knows.
Didn't you hit like a random Saturday night Ja Rule concert or something like that?
We had a DMX show. It was at my local mall. And it's not like it's not a fancy mall like a Mall of America or anything like that. It's a 2-level mall that probably has, I don't know, 50 stores in it max, and this sushi / steakhouse had just opened. And yes, I know it doesn't make sense. It's a sushi steakhouse. It said it was DMX and two just other mid 80s hip hop things that I barely knew of. And I said to the wife, I go, we have to go to that. DMX may no show us. He may show up 8 hours late, but it's a content opportunity. So we decided to go to DMX that night, and I blogged it. I live tweeted it, made it into a blog. A lot of people really enjoyed it. It was everything I hoped it could be. We were waiting there for, I think, 4 hours waiting for him to actually come on stage. He ate dinner from on the side of the restaurant, ate like a 5-course meal. People were whispering oh, I think he's getting dessert. I think the salad's just arrived. He then got on stage, basically was like, I came out to dinner, but I felt like I had to do a verse for you guys. And it's like, yeah, dude, we paid fucking $65 with your name on the ticket. Of course you have to do it. He sang us 1.5 songs and did a prayer.
That's right.
And that was all it was. And it was honestly all I could ever ask for. My wife and I,
best night ever.
Best night ever. Yeah, 100%. It was my wife and I, we danced to like 90s and 2000s hip hop like we did in college for like 4 hours waiting for DMX, got 1.5 DMX songs, and that was it. So yeah, RIP in peace, the Dark Man. I mean, I love Dark Man X. He was an absolute gem.
I remember being up late. I don't know why, but I was just reading along on the blog, and I was like, "Whoa, he's live tweeting, live blogging this like this. What a random experience!"
People were just like, I don't know why the hell, but he's like, I can't wait to hear the next update. It was just one of those things I just had a ball doing, and Dark Man X, there's never been one like him, and there never will be one like him again. He's one of a kind, man. Absolutely one of a kind.
That's just like the suburban dad shit that I do look forward to living someday. Flags that you're about ready to hit your peak.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a kindergartner and a third grader, and I feel like with my third grader, I have about till like 5th, maybe 6th grade if I'm lucky. And then like that's gonna like fall down. Like I have some Podfather moments where like the bedtime stories bullshit, where it's like, God, I just like literally just yesterday I walked out of my home office, which is our last bedroom, and I walked past the bedroom and my daughter was just in there singing to Alexa, who is playing some YouTube girls song that I've never heard of in my life. And I literally just start bawling. And that's the Podfather's life, man, because you just have these little moments, and it's awesome. So
it truly is. Large, like you guys had alluded to earlier. He told that story about Finn, where he was he knew Finn was like work. He volunteered at this place and was helping people out, and then he went and actually saw Finn was helping, like, I think it was like 25-year-old man in like a wheelchair, just like, eat his food and go about his day. And he's like, I just fucking broke down. And, Large, as you can tell, with a little bit we saw of him tonight, he's not one to get all that emotional and stuff like that. And he was a blubbering baby. And I told him I have that screenshot saved him crying for the rest of his life. But it just makes it all worth it. And it definitely, you get dad strength. I think that is one of the true things you get, but you also get like dad softiness too, where like you just see a commercial that completely fucks up your brain and you get teary-eyed over nonsense. So, it's a doozy, man.
That happened to me watching fucking Mad Men. I have a son who's in 6th grade, and I have a daughter who just became a senior. And there's this, it was in the 6th season of Mad Men. I was watching it, and Don Draper was talking about this moment he had with his son, and he was like getting all worked up about it. I was like, God damn it, this motherfucker. And now I get it, man. It's like dad shit it's a different, like the other 3 of these motherfuckers will get it someday, but it's different. It's something you can't explain it. You can't put it into words, but when you feel proud of your kid for doing something, it's like, it's something completely different.
It hits different, man. There's really no way to put it. Like you said, the proud things too. Like my daughter will do something where it's like, all right, Sienna, you got like $5 for, some chore or something. She's like, oh, I want to buy, her brother something with him. We're like, God damn it. Like, don't do something that nice. Just like treat yourself, like spoil yourself. You can buy ice cream from the ice cream truck. And it just makes you so proud and whatever. And then it, like I said, it really does mess with your brain. Just something you'll see on TV that it never in a million years would make you think, back to your kids who, let's be honest too, they drive you absolutely crazy 90% of the day too.
Sure.
So it's a real mind fuck, this entire thing. They do just enough to make it all worth it, but they always do it. Whatever. That's the only reason we survive as a species, is that they always do just enough to make having kids worth it.
For sure.
So my wife literally, I muted myself real quick because my wife literally came in. She, at 9 p.m. at night on a Tuesday night, the only time she could fit it in is to get a massage, an hour-long massage at this place, just to relax herself. She's been complaining about muscle aches and neck ache. 9 to 10 o'clock, she went out and just came in, and it's tough, but you make it work, and it I feel you, Clem.
Yeah, man, it's tricky, and then the stuff with work gets in the way too. I remember I told this story. I think I told it on a podcast. I'm not sure which one. My wife, one time, it was when my daughter was, we only had one, but she was probably like 1 year old, and she's like, she had this whole sit down with me about like, listen, I need you to like stop being on your phone all the time. And I think at this point I was working for Barstool full time. It was probably like my first year working. It's like, I need you to just take it easy and, give us more attention, yada, yada, yada. And then I go on Twitter and I think Porno was pissed off that no one had blogged the Tony Romo story. He's like, I have all these NFCs bloggers. Who are the, why is, and I'm like, oh shit. Like the only time I had turned off my phone that entire year for an hour was as I was getting like yelled at for being on my phone too much. Then go on and I'm getting yelled at for not being on my phone. And it's like Tony Romo broke his fucking collarbone every other year at that point. It wasn't even a story. It was just a matter of when. It's like, well, the first leaf fell. Tony Romo's collarbone is broken. So it was one of those things that, with any job or any life, you're juggling shit. And the fact that like, I had to tell her today, she's like, what? She's like, can you put the kids' food in? I'm like, yeah, I think I might have tore my Achilles celebrating Javi Baez winning. And she's like, oh my God. Like, she didn't sign up for this life. She didn't sign up to be married to a fucking clown. She didn't know that.
Asshole. This whore's asshole. And you get rated by like a complete stranger on the internet, on Twitter. Like, I know you're friends with her and whatever, but she gives a Pores ranking every single Podfather's episode. And I love you, Clem, because I would be right there with you in the Pores ranking. I live in a nice little suburb of Indianapolis, and I'm nothing compared to Clem, or compared to Large and compared to Chaps. Me and you, I feel like we're kindred spirits.
Hey, man, people say it all the time, though. I got it where it counts. I got my little neighborhood here, my people. Like, you don't realize how good Homer Simpson has it when you're a kid watching him. Like, that guy got it all figured out. You know what I mean? Like, he's comfortably fat, right? He's a comfortably fat guy. He has a wife that loves him. He has the kids that like him if they don't just torture him, but nonetheless. And it's like he has a job that, pays the bills, and that's all you can really ask for in life. And when you realize that, like, Homer Simpson is kind of what you strive for instead of, like, a cautionary tale, you're like, all right, it's not that bad. But I love Cass. My girl Cass is the one who puts those rankings together. She you have to, like, you can't just every single episode just be like, all right, well, we're going to just think about, like, bank counts. Because there's, like, stories in the podcast. I got a fucking kitchen remodeled upstairs, and she still has me dead last. Where Large is talking about bringing, cups into the movie theater because they didn't want to pay $5 for fucking drinks. I'm like, how are you going to say that I don't move up the list on this one? So I do think that there's a little bit of an axe to grind there. I love her. But, again, that's what happens when you're on a podcast with two people who are as charming as Large and Chaps. Sometimes I kind of fall by the wayside. It's easy to, throw the happy guy dead last. Who's going to complain about that, right?
Was that Clem, was that you who proposed the 2 dishwasher kitchen?
My brother-in-law had told me about it, so he was the one who had proposed it to me, and then
smartest thing I've ever heard.
Smartest thing I've ever. And of course, I mean, I'm poor, so I couldn't do it. But we only got one dishwasher now, and I feel like an absolute chump.
What are we talking about here?
So
listen up, Marco. This is a game.
I know.
changer.
I'm fucking all ears right now. What's up?
You're remodeling your house.
Yeah,
go for
right,
it.
Okay,
Listen.
Okay.
You put 2 dishwashers in your kitchen, and all you do is you alternate from dirty to clean, and you just pop them off. What's the point of putting the dishes up into the cabinet, then getting them dirty? You just kind of go double barrel there. Boom. One's dirty, one's clean. Hit the wash. You don't have to fucking, dry them and whatever. You just let it dry on its own, and then you just kind of live out of 2 dishwashers instead of putting it up in the cabinet. I think I don't know if it was Segur or someone else had gotten that proposed to me. He's like, holy fucking shit. Like, I'm telling my contractor we're doing. Like, I don't have that kind of money, but I had forgotten all about it until after the plans had gone up. But I think it could work, right, Mark? He's thinking about it right here. The 3 cheese hitting the right spots, I think, too.
I measured.
Yeah, that was a fucking brownie.
After the first time I had heard, like, are you guys talking about it? I went out and measured, like, the cabinet exactly to the right of my dishwasher is the exact same dimensions
30 inches.
As my dishwasher. And I was like, huh. So I just need the dishwasher and a little bit of plumbing, which I think we can figure that out. PEX is cheap. I think we can do this. And the girlfriend, fiance, no, she was just like, no, not doing that. I honestly looked at it. I was like, do you see what we could sell? Like, cabinets are expensive. And these are like the fancy Amish-made cabinets. We could turn a huge profit on selling these cabinets. We do
All right,
not
Tanner,
need cabinets
here we go.
on the wall in this kitchen.
Wedding
we
gift.
Can just have drywall, painted drywall. I'm willing to make money.
Okay, here's the thing.
Flex?
Wedding gift. Ask for a second dishwasher for your wedding gift. Like, make that happen.
For it. You know he's got the bankroll.
Oh, large will do it.
Oh, large. Yeah.
Yeah.
Large. Buy Tanner an extra dishwasher to go into his kitchen so he doesn't have to ever do dishes again.
Large just texted me too. I said, I called him out. I called you out on the pod for the cheese. He goes, excellent. It's very good. I'm going to say, well, now you have to buy him a dishwasher for his wedding.
If he asks for context, just tell him he has to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
No
Exactly.
And share, please.
Yeah.
Large. Well, Tanner, you're gonna have to have them buy you 2 dishwashers because they got to match.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was at this whole time.
No, we'll just put. They make wooden veneer. I'll just put wooden veneer on them and make them match that way.
But like you said, those cabinets are not cheap. Like the price of a dishwasher is really not that crazy compared to a fucking cabinet. And it's like imagine just be able to you leave your bed and it's made every single day. That's exactly what your dishes are basically. You have the clean ones and the dirty ones. It's a flawless strategy.
You should be selling the double dishwasher system right now.
I should be a Bosch salesman. By the way, I have a Bosch dishwasher. Top of the line.
Those are amazing.
Yeah,
those are fucking amazing.
Yep, and I'm still be on the poor
dishwashers. They have the little digital fucking hologram on the floor to tell you how much time is left. It's so gangster.
Yep, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at dishwashers right now. Okay, they're really not that expensive. I didn't realize that.
They're not bad, and cabinets are not cheap, so it makes perfect sense.
Relative to the utility they provide, I mean, they probably provide you on average a couple grand of utility a year. I would say.
People, have
you ever had to hand wash? It sucks.
This is a public service announcement. If you have your temperature up high enough on your heater, or your water heater, and you have a decent sprayer on your kitchen sink, and you have a garbage disposal, wash your fucking dishes off with the sprayer.
No, don't.
Load them in the dishwasher.
This is bad advice. Never double wash your dishes. Put them directly in the dishwasher. Never double wash.
I think Marco's going somewhere else. Let's hear this.
All right. Sorry.
If you just do that, if you just spray them off and then you load them in there, run them however, because you can get a cheap dishwasher, right? Like, you don't have to get the Bosch ones are fantastic, but you don't have to get a fucking fantastic one. If you get a cheap dishwasher, 2 of them, right? You get the 2 cheap dishwashers, you spend $300-$400 all together. You spray your shit off, you throw them in there. I think you definitely do this whole thing for under $500.
I agree.
Well, or you could just.
I would need a nice one.
Or you could just buy for $1,000. You could just not have to worry about spraying your shit off. I'm literally looking at it right now.
Why wouldn't you? Why don't you have the fucking spray? You have the ability to fucking spray it. You have the goddamn garbage disposal. Use the shit. Obviously, you scrape the shit off, the big stuff. You scrape it off the garbage. Don't be an animal. Scrape it off into the garbage. Spray off the ketchup and the rest of the stuff off your fucking plate, and then put it in a cheap dishwasher.
Clem, we actually do like each other.
No,
this is love.
The only reason you guys still show up is because how much you love each other. It's the people you're best friends with are the ones you busted.
We will argue about whether we should rinse a dish or not for 20 minutes.
Hey,
there wasn't a
we'll settle this right fucking now. Clem, do you put lettuce on your tacos?
Oh, fuck you!
Answer the question.
Okay, I don't usually put it on my taco, but I have made it to the point where I don't ask for them to hold it. So if I make my tacos, I do not put it on. But when I go and get tacos, I embrace the lettuce. Now it's kind of like
wait. That's middleman Dan right away. Hey, you can't be middleman Dan. No, you choose one. You choose one. Middleman Dan. You can't be that.
Am I buying it or am I making my tacos? Because there's 2 different things. I will.
No. Fuck. He's Switzerland. He's like me.
Hey, I want to fucking fight him right now.
I gave the same.
You guys have to give me a fucking option.
Okay, when I say the word taco, in your mind, describe it to me. Just the word taco.
There's no lettuce on taco.
Thank you.
You're done. I'm done with you. I'm done with him. He's done. I'm done with him. And I'm the only Mexican in this group.
Guys, look at me. I eat any greens I can get usually, so it's I'm sorry, but I'm getting better at it though. I'm getting better. I eat my broccoli and my General Tso's. I eat the tacos. I don't say no lettuce with my tacos now. That's just the truth.
Clem, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad because I gave the same exact answer and there was 0 outrage about it. So don't feel bad.
We've gone days without talking to each other over this debate.
Yeah,
This is
no,
a multi-year.
You just walked into a multi-year argument.
Yeah, and you guys said this is going to settle it. I guess what? That didn't just settle it right there. I can tell you that.
No, not at all.
You just drove to. You're the first guest of
You
ours
just
to
ripped the
agree with
fucking
me.
scab off. Thanks.
I've presented like literal PowerPoint presentations about the value of lettuce on tacos.
Or cilantro, because it's the same fucking thing.
Nope.
God damn it.
God.
I was really hoping you'd
It's a green leafy vegetable. It's a fucking lettuce.
Clem,
Either way,
I didn't think you'd get
I
us
still
so
put regular
outraged, dude. I
lettuce
was
on my
looking forward to
taco
a nice, comfortable, easygoing podcast. You had to bring up tacos.
This is the problem. I'm scared to even like touch this hornet's nest right now. But like when I make tacos, I don't want to chop lettuce up and chop tomatoes up and shit like that. It's just too much
You don't
work.
put tomatoes on
now,
Wait.
not at my house. If I go out and get tacos from
Hold on.
someone else, it's
I
just too
solved
much
this.
work.
I'll solve this problem right now. The only reason you don't want to chop all that shit up is you have shitty knives. Sharpen your shit. If you have really sharp knives, hey, if you have talk to Large, he'll back me up on this. If you have really good knives, I'll give anything to watch a tomato. Like, and I don't even eat tomatoes, but my girl, she likes tomatoes. If I have a really sharp knife, which I do because I'm Mexican, that's what I have to do in my household. Otherwise, I'm not real Mexican. But I pride myself on being able to do that tomato paper thin if you have a good knife. I'm just saying, don't let it be about the knives.
You just profiled Clem.
Hey, Clem, do you have good knives? You have shitty knives.
No, I don't have great knives. And you know what the thing
There we
is?
go.
I didn't have a good kitchen until I just got it done. And now that we got a nice kitchen, I made I was like, we were cooking all the same old shit in our new kitchen. So I did the Hello Fresh thing. Like, you know, we had the 14 free meals, 14 Robbie. There you go. Promo with my mom's basement with Robbie Fox. And
thank you.
Like we were actually we're cutting up tomatoes and onions and peppers, shit that I would just do meat and like basic shit. So then I feel like I'm a real chef again. So I have to get better knives. That's the one thing we didn't get. We got new plates, we got new silverware, we got all new appliances, countertops, yada yada
I just
yada.
fucking solved this problem.
You're right. You're fine.
What do you put on your tacos? No lettuce. No, you just do meat and cheese.
Meat, cheese, sour cream,
Cheese and shredded
maybe
like
some
cheddar and
yeah, guac. If there's guac in the house and shit like that.
Make your own fucking guac. If you tell me you don't right now, I'll send you the recipe and you better follow
God
it.
damn, Marco! Not
No,
everybody
go to
wants to go
Costco.
through the hassle of making guac. You fucking asshole!
really
go to
easy.
Costco,
I
get
can
the
give you guys a
individual
recipe.
packs. They
Fuck
have like
you and
a
your-
30
That's
pack
the one-
of
no.
individual
Shut your
guac
fucking whore
packs.
mouth. We do not buy guacamole from a store. I will show you all how to make it. It's very easy.
You've
It's
never
way
been to
better.
Costco. I don't agree.
Avocados are evil. Why would you eat?
I
that
go
shit
to
anyways?
fucking Costco. I just left Costco, motherfucker.
Avocado means testicle in native language. It literally means testicle.
This has gone a direction I didn't foresee.
And Clem, just for a little bit of like backstory, me and Marco argue more than anybody here, and we've never met each other in real life. We're gonna meet each other in September
In Vegas.
in Las Vegas.
Hell yeah.
This is truly a podcast united by like the Barstool Radio Network.
Yeah.
We're all serious callers, and that's how this all started.
That's one of my favorite things about Barstool, in all honesty, is, and I mean, Dave gets a lot of shit, and I think, you know, Dave gets a lot of shit even from people, and, you know, somebody I'm sure he's earned, but he has created these pockets of groups and friends that I think is so cool. And this is coming from someone that is a part of that. I have a bunch of people on Twitter I've never met that I consider, you know, friends. I've never even probably seen their real faces and shit like that. They're their fucking avatars and stuff like that, right? And before I started working here, and now it's a job, which is even more awesome for me. I'm thrilled about that. But I just love how it's like one fucking degenerate's fucking idea to, you know, come up with a sports newspaper all these years later creates these fucking friendships, and a crazy night in Vegas is going to be one of the products of it. So it's fucking awesome. And taco debate and shit like that. I think it's so cool. I really do.
We're gonna leave that one alone. For
We can't talk about fucking Vegas.
No. Tacos.
No,
You
no,
guys
no,
talk
no.
about Vegas for a
No.
little while, but
We can talk about tacos too. We talk about fucking guacamole.
not calmly.
Saying.
Marco, my blood pressure is going down right now. I don't need it to go back up.
Whatever.
So Clem,
Pop a three cheese.
I would
promo
I would
code pod.
expect we'll wrap up soon. I know we're all civilized and have bedtimes and stuff, but we always wrap up our show with a segment called Local Shit Shows. And if you're familiar with like a a Florida man story or something like that, but just apply it to your local neighborhood. All right. Typically, it's involving yourself, but other times just crazy shit happens down the block. So, does anybody besides Clem have one for an example? I'm guessing Ronnie, you almost always do.
Yeah, no, I got caught in the middle of a drug raid last
Here
week.
we go.
So, it's kind of a running thing. I live in an area where there's a lot of marijuana being grown illegally,
He was in the
like
northern
California.
Makes sense.
So, anyways, I go and I'm dumping trash in these, large legal commercial style grows. And next thing I know, I'm hearing fucking helicopters. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Next thing I know, I'm getting blocked in a person's driveway by 25 different armed guards, like police officers, unmarked cars, all sorts of shit. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm just a stupid fucking redneck in the middle of nowhere. No one knows where I am. And I'm surrounded by cops. And then on the one side of my garbage truck, there's cops. On the other side of my garbage truck are the people that they're going after. And I'm in the middle. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like this.
Oh, my God.
And I kind of stood there like Ricky Bobby, like, I don't know what to do with my hands. And I'm just like this. And one of the cops looks at me. He's like, you don't look like you belong here. And I'm like, no, I definitely don't. He's like, we need to get some trucks moved out of the way. No one who was driving those trucks, who had the keys to those trucks, they all took off running after people. So I was stuck there for 30 minutes just talking with one of the supervisors as they were arresting people and hauling my customers past me in handcuffs. And I'm just like, sorry, Lee, I don't know what to fucking tell you, bud.
Did they accuse you of being a rat?
No, the guy, Lee's a cool dude. He knows, I ain't no snitch.
Why you dropping
I ain't
names,
no
bro?
snitch.
Why you drop? You are right now. You fucking said names, bro.
Yeah.
It's an
Rule
Asian.
number one.
It's an Asian family. Most of them are Lee.
Oh, racist shit.
Bruce.
Well, I already told you they're all Hmong.
Yeah.
Well, I told you, yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't in this story. My bad. But yeah, no. Go ahead.
So,
I'm proud of
I've
that
got
one.
one.
That's good.
Yeah.
So here in Indiana, we are big into the meth. If you don't know, here in the Midwest,
That's methed
meth
up.
is big. That's methed up. So, Clem, you will recognize this. Buffy the Vampire Slayer actor Nicholas Brendan, also known as Xander in the fantasy series, got arrested in Terre Haute, Indiana. Shout out Kate Terre Haute. Terre Haute, Indiana. Why do celebrities come to Indiana to get arrested for their drug possession and purchasing products? That's what I don't understand. They all come to Indiana. I don't know if there's a direct line from wherever the drugs come from to Indiana, but they all come here. And the celebrities, quote unquote, celebrities come here and get arrested. I don't know.
Let me just tell you how happy that story makes me, just because my wife was the biggest Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan of all time, and she has a very soft spot in her heart for Xander. And the fact I get to go say that her beautiful little darling is, buying meth out there in the
I'm
heartland.
DMing it right now.
Oh, that's gonna be a
There's that
beautiful
East Coast asshole shining.
Yep, there's a little bit in there. There's a little bit in there. Not gonna lie.
He's gonna be doing DX crotch chops. Yeah, suck it, Xander.
She loved her favorite like pop star as a kid was AJ from the Backstreet Boys, which I now realized she probably named my son after it, and I didn't realize until after he was born that's why his name is AJ. And he was like the bad boy. He had a big substance abuse problem and all that kind of shit. And then my guy was Bruno Mars. I love Bruno Mars, and I think he got pinched for cocaine at some point. So she's always likes to bring that up. So now Xandar has kind of flipped the script on her with Xandar.
Bruno
There you
Mars
go.
confirmed
just tagged
big
you.
nose beers guy. Yeah.
Yes, Vegas.
Big nose.
Had a great time in Vegas.
Got that booger sugar.
That's awesome. I have a little local shit show, and it's kind of niche, but farm country up here, right? Okay. One of my customers I work with, he always puts in a big sunflower maze, so he grows like a couple hundred acres of sunflowers, and most people know sunflowers being a very pretty crop, right? You drive by bright yellow, the heads on them, everything. 90% of its growing life, they are the ugliest thing in the world. It looks like just a giant, ugly green stick, and then as soon as they're mature, they're a literally moldy brown mush hanging on flower. Well, there was a local, I don't even want to call it, interest group, whatever, and they thought that they saw sunflowers like the first time, and they thought these were I don't know, GMO or something, bad for you, quote unquote, and then because they were starting to turn ugly. So there was like a group of 15 or 20 people that drove to the middle of fucking nowhere to protest these random sunflowers. Like literally just start randomly protesting these sunflowers for doing what sunflowers do. Like if anybody's ever seen one in a greenhouse or garden or whatever, they are extremely ugly once they hit maturity, right? They go from yellow to shit brown overnight. Yeah, so 15 to 20 people literally paid for like public transportation to bust them out, and they were protesting a sunflower field. And of course, they made local news and all that. But the farmers got the win because we got to explain to the rest of the small little world up here that no such thing as GMO sunflowers, and this is just how flowers naturally grow. So I, as a farmer, was very proud to see the farmers not take the shit out of the deal for once. But this would probably be funny to be like seven people, but I had to tell it.
That's beautiful right there. Everyone's so fucking angry these days. Everyone always has an axe to grind. The fact that, like you said, they drove or they took public transportation all that way just to get a fucking shove right back in their face brought a smile to my face. And I've done a couple sunflower mazes with the wife. They're a delightful time.
Oh, no
delightful
shit.
time. Yeah. We have a few. Like I'm like I always say, I'm north of the wall here. I'm not like in the city. I'm in the burbs. And we have a lot of farms in the area. And then if you go out east, like Connecticut or whatever, too, you can hit some there. And we actually had it was like on the time hop. We had done one, somewhat recently, I guess. So.
I think me, Flags, and Tyler only used to corn mazes. In Nebraska, Iowa, Indiana. That's the only thing I've ever seen is a corn maze. I didn't even know they made sunflower mazes.
It's kind of a newer thing, but yeah, like probably the last 10 years, it's been it goes along with apple picking and stuff like that. Kind of kicks off like fall stuff, if you will. It's like pre-pumpkin spice season. Yeah, but we got the same guy does a big corn maze too. I don't know, fall shit, man. People from the cities pay money to come be on the farm for a day.
I guess
that's always funny too because we have a lot of like orchards up here and some farms as well. You just sit to see all the city folk and they're coming in their flannel and their BMWs coming out, and I'm like, oh, welcome to the sticks here, welcome to the country, y'all. I'm just Mr. Bumpkin Clem here. Come look in my neighborhood. It's so funny to see, man. And it's like you guys are just coming here with your kids to be in the country, and it's like an hour north just to drink some cider or something like that. It's fucking hell. I can't, and I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to go to the orchards and get those fucking donuts myself. But it is kind of a trip. I don't really.
Donuts are so good.
Oh, they're so fucking good. So, and I know there's a lot of. I hope I'm not like picking another old fucking scab here in terms of an argument. I think pumpkin spice is overrated, and I wish apple was the official taste of fall. And it should be, and it just pisses me off that it's not, to be honest with you.
Okay, so Starbucks, everybody hates Starbucks, but everybody loves it. But they're coming out with an apple crisp Starbucks apple caramel macchiato.
Give me apple, kiss my ass. I'll take pumpkin any day.
No, fuck pumpkins. Give me the apples.
Marco, you're gonna start a war you don't want to go at. Like,
give me the apples.
Hey, lettuce goes on tacos,
Johnny Appleseed
every day. Every day, lettuce on tacos.
No,
I hate
Appleseed
pumpkin spice.
Beats pumpkins every day.
I hate pumpkin spice,
You're also
to my core.
You're also
to my
core.
core.
You snitched on the fucking drug people.
But guess what? My wife is the biggest pumpkin spice person in the world. My house smells like pumpkin spice right now.
Good.
I have
September, dude.
I know it's bad.
September tomorrow. Fuck. Jesus Christ. That was quick.
Fuck, tomorrow's my anniversary. I just remembered that.
You should get your wife some pumpkin spice stuff.
There you go.
Did you buy a gift? Hold on.
Yeah.
This is coming out after the anniversary. Did you buy a gift?
She already got her gift.
Okay,
calm down. It's not you, motherfucker.
Well, she already got a gift from me.
Something with video games.
Clem, what would
she
happen
got
to you?
New monitor for her computer.
Okay. Clem, if you forgot an anniversary gift, what would happen to you?
Just like it wouldn't be any like my wife isn't a yeller. She would just be so like disappointed and sad.
Oh,
It would
it's
be
worse.
worse than anything. Yeah,
Oh, it's
exactly.
the worst.
Significantly
I'm not
worse.
mad. I'm disappointed. That's
Yeah.
the fucking worst phrase in the world. I swear to God.
We've reached a point too, which I mean, I'm sure I get like roasted for this for being like a poor or something like that, but we don't really do many gifts. We used to do like, I think the first 10 years or 5 years, we did all the traditional, whatever, like wood for this year and whatever. And then we were just
Oh,
like,
you can
let's
get
just-
wood?
yeah, exactly.
No.
That goes away pretty quickly, actually, after marriage, as we all find out. But I think like after 5 years or so, we were
I
just-
know.
yeah, exactly. But like for this year, like the kitchen, we're like, all right, let's just buy like the bar, like the nice bar stools now. The happy anniversary, like it's just kind of like it's a roving gift that we just buy for each other. We want to make a splash because again, it just all the shit we buy basically goes towards the kids. You know what I mean? So we don't really get anything fun. And let's be honest, like I don't know about you guys and your wives. Anything I buy her or she buys me, it's not going to be as good as if we just bought it ourselves. So it's like you just buy it and just say, you know, happy anniversary or happy birthday to yourself. She got her birthday. She bought a bike rack for the car. And I was like, well, do you want that for your birthday? Yeah, sure. Same credit card. We have the joint credit card. Boom, done. Everyone's fucking happy. We get points. And then we spend it on shit for the house down the road.
So, anybody else have a local shit show? Otherwise, Clem, you got anything?
I don't have a lot because it's a pretty quiet neighborhood I live in. However, I do have one where it was like probably about a month ago. There was my wife's in like the neighborhood text chain, which I don't know if any of you guys have something like this with like, yep, it's one of the, we have the neighborhood text chain and then we have like the local moms Facebook group, which is you know, you've heard about all the schools or whatever, the shit going on. But the local text chain had said there was a suspicious man walking around the neighborhood. I guess like someone's ring cam had caught him. He was walking onto a property and acting a little strange. And I was like, oh, I'll take a trip around the block because I was coming home from dropping the kids off, do something. And as I'm pulling in, I see the guy get thrown in the old cop car and shipped away. And it was just so nice to be like, I saw some guy who's wearing like an orange shirt or something. Like, oh yeah, that was him, blah, blah, blah. And that was like our little intruder. He had walked like miles from the train station or the highway. Like he had walked like legitimately like 10, 15 miles. And he somehow ended up in our neighborhood and had like went to the wrong house, scared the wrong suburban housewife. And he ended up thrown in jail apparently. So that was the closest thing. I was the hero of the mom's text chain because I had seen him get apprehended and thrown into the
So you're the snitch.
I am not the snitch.
No.
He was already arrested.
If you're chasing kids, you're not a
He's
snitch.
just the eyes in the sky.
I was the eyes in the sky. I said I went in and I was like, oh, I think the guy you were looking for just got arrested because as I was pulling into the neighborhood, he was already getting thrown into the car. So
Well, good. Fuck that guy.
Snitches get stitches. So definitely that's the case even in the burbs.
I love it. That's like just the perfect Clem local shit show. I really, that was awesome.
I appreciate it.
I think we're gonna wrap up. So thank you so much for coming on, man. I know it's been a long time coming. You've had Homer model get in the way, COVID get in the way, and everything. So you were one of the white whale guests. So this is a big deal for us. Maybe a bigger deal than large. We'll see.
Definitely a bigger deal than large. It's all I ask is just you say it's a bigger deal. And if you don't believe it, that's all I'm asking you to say, you know, the biggest deal we had at Barstool between Large and Clem was Clem. And I don't like being called a white whale usually, but this is one of the few times that I appreciate it. It was a joy. I apologize. I think, the kitchen remodel was a fucking, I sound like such like an asshole saying that, but it was really like it was craziness. The kids were displaced. I had to like leave the house, stay at my parents' house. And as you guys can tell, I'm sick now, but it was good to get on. I'd love to come back. Truly would love to come back.
Of course.
I kind of want to come back with Large, and I kind of want to never see Large again. I don't know how I feel about like that.
Hey, just ask him.
Fuck
which
Large?
kind of knives.
Can we say like unanimously fuck Large?
He's been good for us, but he does torment Clem, and Clem's my guy. So I'm kind of torn here.
He always has a goddamn smirk on his face. But Large has made comments about knives being very important. I'm 100% he has said that in the past. No doubt in my mind. Right. So that's a Large thing for sure. You know you're Large.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. We are at the Anomalies Pod. Clem is at the Clem Report on all social. He's always pumping out content, and he's very active on Twitter. I don't know if you always follow back, like Chaps, but you definitely are active on Twitter, and we appreciate the shit out of that. Marco's at K-Pasta Primo. If you want him, he'll be 15 minutes late for anything. And JJ Flegel needs a fucking nap. He is zonked. At Trashman Ronnie, are you just gonna go play video games? Probably. And at Tyler Allen, we're damn glad to have you back in Nebraska, buddy. This has been an awesome show. Should be out Thursday. Thanks again, Clem. We are out of here. Peace.
Let's fucking go.
Is he?
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry,
Brian.
Don't invite me to your career day.
Yeah, you ate the shrimp and had Jack Daniels, and
Yeah.
you got fucked up.
Yeah.
I remember, he's so good, Tyler.